Hello, good morning, our lovely viewers and listeners on radio Tadi FM 99.1 and on YouTube Sports 101. We are here again with our wonderful and new, ultra new morning show, morning sports show. That
As it is.
the best at it is so far. We came your way last week, and we promised to serve you um, breakfast sports every Saturday morning. And we are here today too. Same crew, myself, Percy, and
Are you asking for my name?
I'm not asking for your name. I'm just asking because of the jersey you are in. I don't know if it has any connotation to.
Well, it's for the
I've
club.
actually been watching your line of jerseys that you wear, and
Really?
it toes the same line, but I think that will be a subject for another day.
Last week I was in a Bayern Munich Qatar. This week I'm in
And
a Manchester City jersey.
all of them were coached by
Pep Guardiola.
okay, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I'm a
how's your
blue.
weekend
I'm a
been?
blue. I'm a blue.
so
Sea blue.
Um,
Sea blue. I don't know who wears sea blue, but I'm sea blue,
I know
man.
where you're coming from. You don't want Arsenal to win the league. But is Marcus Rashford a world class player?
Well, well,
Is Rashford a world class player?
well, I think at this material time, Rashford is a world-class player.
Rashford is a world
Yes,
class
at
player.
this material time.
Percy,
And
is Rashford a world class
I
player?
didn't know what class player has to do with season. That there is a time that a player is a world class player and a time that
I'm
a player
sure.
is not.
oh no. I mean,
Why-
maybe you don't get me.
Kofi, why we are asking this, or why we all want to know this, is the term world class has been bandied around a lot.
Well, I
mean,
think it's been abused.
not
No, I
necessarily
think it's
abused,
been
but
abused.
in not just football, across
Sport.
all sporting discipline,
Yes.
even in basketball,
Yes.
I mean, athletics, name them. The term world
World
class
class.
is synonymous with sports. Who, in your honest opinion, qualifies as a world class player?
Well, quick one. I think that Percy passed the very, very interesting comments that he doesn't know if it's a
seasonal
world class player has to be in a particular season. Because I made, when you asked the question, I made a particular remark that as per this season,
Yeah.
he's a world class player. And I'll justify why I think it is so. Then I'll come to the generic meaning of who a world class player and what ought to be seen in a world class player. I think that being world class, first of all, is not an event, it's a process. You understand? So you don't just get up when you start your career, you don't just get up and be a world class player. It is a series of events, and it is all part of the process that fine tunes a player to being world class. You understand? So it's about the little mistakes, about the broken hearts, it's about the highs and the lows, it's about getting some of the feats right. It's about making huge errors. You understand? So we look at careers of famous players or world class players. You realize that they didn't just rise to the top. They had to go through the mill. They had to go through a particular process, and then they arrived there. You understand? I think that's basically being world class is being so good at what you do. Every footballer, every sports person has a craft. You understand? And in that craft, there are specialities. There are departments. For example, if you take the game of football, there is the defense, there is the goalkeeping, there is the midfield. You understand? Even in the midfield, there are departments, and then there's the forward line. For people who fall in those categories, it's about knowing the role you play, honing your talents very well, and then being excellent at the role you play. You understand? So you look at Rashford. Rashford is considered a forward. You understand? And for a forward, one of the key duties for a forward has to be getting goals, getting goals, getting goals. And then one of the key components of world-class players is that when the odds are against them, when the stage is grandest, when the stage is biggest, they get to bring their talents to the fore. And like you see, you look at the season in retrospect. Obviously, Rashford is somebody who has grown before our eyes since his introduction to Manchester United by Van Gaal. Remember that famous game against Arsenal? And when Anthony Martial had to get injured, and then he had to even, I think it was even in an Europa game.
Yeah.
You understand?
FC Midtjylland.
Yes, it was in a Europa game against Midtjylland. When Martial had to be injured, then Rashford has had to be roped in, an academy boy. He's been through the mill. But you look at his performances this season, you look at the stage, you look at the clubs he's performed against. Indeed, all throughout his career, Rashford has never been one of those players who has been afraid of the big stage. So you look at his record against traditionally the big six teams in England. He's always showed up. You understand? Now you would have to learn to do it on a more consistent basis against the biggest of opponents. Why do I say so? Look, I mean, this season Rashford has been making the waves against the best opponents in the world. FC Barcelona.
Why are you staring at me?
I'm staring at you because I look at the jersey you are wearing. I see a Manchester, but there's only a team in Manchester. You understand? I'm surprised that you've chosen to wear an inferior jersey of a particular team in Manchester. I look at the Manchester on top, the crest, the Manchester on top of the
When was
band.
the last time United was relevant in the city of
No,
Manchester?
we'll come there again. I mean, relevance is being world class. You understand? So I to cut the long story short, I think that you look at Rashford this season, you look at the goals he scored, you look at the improbable angles he scored all those goals for, you look at the hype that he's gone into games with and has delivered. You understand? I think that without a shade of doubt, he's world class at this material time. But I must be quick to add this caveat that even in the midst of world class, there are hierarchies. You understand? Obviously, you cannot put Rashford being a world class player in the same vein as Lionel Messi, in the same vein as probably Zlatan Ibrahimovic, in the same vein as Cristiano Ronaldo. No, they are levels. You understand? And so that's where I think that I'll need to. I don't know what Percy thinks. I have watched him the way he's looking at the pool. I think that he's seen something in the pool.
His posture clearly indicates that he disagrees with you on who a world-class player is.
didn't know you read
And the
body
fact
language.
that, I'm a psychologist, so obviously I easily pick up on things. And the fact that you can, boldly put Marcus Rashford in the category of who a world-class player is. Clearly, Percy he's
I don't think he's amazed.
he's
Maybe he's amazed at the truth being revealed to him.
Have you played this game before? Do you play foot as in soccer game before?
I'm not really a fan.
I don't know if Kofi plays it. When you are playing it, the level of difficulty,
Yeah,
there is beginner.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Then there is
Professional. I think there's
professional.
professional, and then there's world class.
There is semi-professional
Professional.
before professional.
And there's world class.
There is world class. Then in Pro Evolution, they've added another one. There is superstar.
Let's
I'm
stick
coming.
Let's stick to
I'm coming.
the
That's the
world
level.
class.
Rashford is a very good player, but it would be an abuse of an English language to put him in the vein of world class. He's a very good player. He's a very good striker. A very, very good striker. A very good striker. As good as Aubameyang. Probably, maybe Aubameyang will be ahead. A very good centre forward. Very good. I'm not going to take it away. When you say someone is class, even before I bring the word world to it, world means that appealed by everyone or appealed to everyone.
Yeah.
To say the thing is class means that an achievement has been attained. A level has been set. A level of consistency and a level of giving the very best to the world has been attained. And it doesn't matter a few tweaks that would come to it. That level of consistency is always attained. Let's say he started playing in 2016. So let me just take from 2016 so that it wouldn't be a big deal. And I'll give you the top strikers or who are world class in the Premier League. I'm just taking the Premier League for that time. Kane has been consistent and he has been a world class player within that time. He has never given you less than 20 goals a season. Never. That is Harry Kane. Sergio Aguero can even go on injury for a very, very long time. When he comes, his 20 goals
He go take give you.
He will take give you. Even Aubameyang, who came into Arsenal, he came to Arsenal 2018. That is halfway through the season. 2-3 seasons straight till he being ousted out of Arsenal. He was very consistent. He challenged for the Premier League twice. One he was first, second one he was only second to a goal. Mohamed Salah, since his introduction to the Liverpool team, has been very, very consistent. Even if he doesn't win the Golden Boot, you know that this guy is giving it to you. For Marcus Rashford, like I said, he's good. For Marcus Rashford, he's been a daily dawning player. This is the only time that he's been able to pass 22 goals. The number of goals that even Salah could score a season and could not even, we will see him to be a flop. But here we are hailing him that this is the best season he's had. World class player is a player that when he achieves something, a season, and a player that is below standard achieves the same thing, and we put them on the same pedestal, we end up saying that that player that we are now trying to hail as a world class player has achieved the best. This season, we are here hailing Rashford for everything he's done. You know the number of goals that Mohamed Salah has scored. Yet we are not even talking about him because of the standard that he set. See, there are some times that a player like Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, they can score 30-40. And we will lambast them that they've had the worst. It is because they have set standards that they are always keeping to it. So, for me, if you are talking about a player to be world class, Kofi gave all of the parameters. Mine has to be that level of consistency at the highest level that every single player knows that, okay, this is the standard. See, the standard is not written in the stars. But when you are good, you are good.
Opinions.
See, the standard.
Opinions, absolute opinions.
The standard is not set that score 30, score 40.
Percy, maybe if I can ask you a simple question. I want to ask a simple question because I'm pretty sure that people listening to us want to ask questions. Mm-hmm. I think that you are beginning to sound like a history professor. Why do I say so? I said it is a process, right? When do you begin that process? At which process does the bell ring? At which process does the coin drop? Rashford hold on. No, you see, that's fine, great. That's absolutely fine. That's for the records, you understand? But I asked the question, when does the turnaround begin? When would you consider the turnaround begin? So, hypothetically, on this thread that you have walked, on this tangents that you have walked, when do you think that Rashford needs to be in the conversation for being a world-class player?
That's what he said.
No, I've listened to him. He's sounding like a history professor. He's not sounding like somebody. Hold on. I will let him conclude, but maybe he needs to address my question.
I will address it. Don't worry. I will diffuse everything.
So I think that he needs to set the parameters clear. Then I would ask, was Jermaine Defoe a world-class player?
I'll come to it. I'm coming.
If goals and consistency are all there is.
Let me conclude. When you come into Premier League, there is something that we call PL 100. I don't know if you follow.
Yeah, Premier League best.
That has to, even with a striker, it has to be players who have scored 100 goals. Listen, in the context of Premier League, Darren Bent is a world-class player.
Conclude
on your statement. What I'm trying to say is that he was asking.
So you are the stats guy.
I'm coming.
You are the guy who depends on stats.
You are the one who said that. What do we use to measure a player? Goals. You said it. You put your own parameters there.
No.
No, you said it.
Darren Bent, world class.
Can I continue?
In the context of the PL.
Can I continue?
Darren Bent.
Can I continue?
No, maybe people did not watch Darren Bent. I mean, if you're listening to us, go on YouTube and watch Darren Bent.
Can I continue? Can I continue?
I dare say Asamoah Gyan was a better player than Darren Bent.
Can I continue?
Come on.
Now, based on what I'm saying,
Darren Bent.
He has not derailed my thought.
Finish.
What I'm trying to say, he was asking that, so at what point? It is at the point of consistent. Listen, for everything that Rashford has done, I remember 2019-2020 season, 2020-2021, the season that both Rashford and Martial scored 20 plus goals.
Yeah.
After that season, everybody will talk about, okay, then with the season, after the season, Ronaldo came and everything. Listen, if you're a world-class player, it is not about a new player has come.
Oh?
Listen, The players I mentioned.
No?
I'll give you. No, I'm coming.
Lautaro Martinez is world class.
He is not.
He's not.
Why would I put him there?
Lautaro Martinez
Never,
is not world class.
ever.
Is Lukaku world class?
Lukaku?
Yes.
A world class striker?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
How many figures does he have this season?
How many figures?
Consistency.
Consistency. I'm talking about consistency over the years. There can be a few discrepancies.
Percy, hold on there. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we are also live on Tadi
Lukaku is a
FM
world-class player.
99.1. I'm coming. Engage with us in the comment section. Sorry. We want to know your take. The topic for discussion this morning is who is a world-class player in the context of football. Whether you've played in the Premier League, whether you've done is play in the World Cup, or you've done is played in the La Liga, who would you consider a world-class player? What are the matrices? And I think we threw in a bit of, is Marcus Rashford a world-class player? We want to know your take in the comment section. Engage us in the comment section. Let's know what you think. But Kofi believes that, listen, Marcus Rashford is a world-class player because of his performance over the years, especially this season. He is bold enough to put Marcus Rashford in the conversation of a world-class player, or even this season, he believes he's there. Percy, on the other hand, feels like, whoa, that's an atrocity of a zone to put Marcus Rashford, because he believes that Rashford over the years has not proven the level of consistency and has not proven that he actually deserves to be in the world-class conversation. Is he, Kofi? You know, I barely agree with Percy. I rarely do on issues, but I think that, listen, on this particular issue, I believe strongly that Rashford is not world class. Yes, there are good players. Rashford belongs to the category of a good player. There are great players. Rashford does not belong in the category of a great player. I think, and that's where I agree with Percy, the first matrix to judge if somebody is world class is consistency. It's consistency. Listen, if you've played football for 5 seasons running, in between there will be injuries. It's part of the game. But even in those injury-plagued seasons, or those 1 or 2 seasons where you go off, at least you should be able to give 3 seasons of high-level, consistent football. I want to give you a list of players I feel belong in the conversation of world class. Iniesta, Xavi, Kevin De Bruyne, Ronaldo, Messi. One thing that runs through these guys is that they are consistent in their play.
Kevin De Bruyne. On the grandest of stages.
You see, I'm coming. They are consistent.
Oh, you see,
let me
Kevin De Bruyne on the grandest of stages.
Let me finish.
The guy who is constantly choking.
Let me finish making my point.
That's not a world-class player.
Kevin De Bruyne is very consistent
on the grandest of stages.
When the Premier League starts, every single season, Kevin De Bruyne belongs in the conversation of player of the season. Not even a single season goes by without placing Kevin De Bruyne there. Iniesta, not even a single season goes by that we always say, if football was fair, Iniesta, Xavi at least should have won the world best player in the season when Spain won the World Cup. Listen, you cannot tell me you are world class if you've not at least given us consistent football, quality, top notch. And he made mention of the use of the word high level. If you want to belong in the category of class, you need to be at a certain penchum, high level. Listen, Kylian Mbappe is a world-class striker. Do you know why? Ever since Kylian Mbappe burst onto the scene, from his days at Monaco to his days at PSG, this guy has always been consistent at the highest level. There are seasons when Kylian Mbappe gets injured. Those things are apart. But he always consistency. 20 plus goals, 30 plus goals.
He plays in the French league.
This is not a matter of he playing. You want us to go there.
You
want us to go there.
He has
if
Rashford was playing in the French league. If Rashford was playing in the French league, you think he wouldn't get 20 goals a season?
Let me finish making my point.
Rashford wouldn't get 20 goals a season playing in the French league?
The point I'm making here is that,
come on,
for world class, you need to be consistent. You need to have played at the highest level. You need to have these 2 matrices. Listen, you cannot tell me that Luca Toni burst onto the scene for Fiorentina for one season.
And that was it.
That was it. He's world class because in that season he broke the record set in the Serie A, scoring 30 plus league goals. Ciro Immobile burst onto the scene, goes to Dortmund, and for some reason he disappears.
Roy Mackay.
Thank you, Roy Mackay, for Deportivo La Coruña.
Can I ask you a question?
You see, a player like Davor Suker.
Davor
Suker may have not have played for the best of national teams, but every single time Davor Suker dons the jersey of Croatia,
and
dons the jersey of Real Madrid, he proved
super.
at the highest level that this guy belongs in the conversation of
can
world
I
class.
ask you a question?
Listen,
Can I ask you a question?
I will finish and you have your rebuttal.
No,
Marcus-
I don't want to rebuttal.
Marcus
I want
Rashford-
to question that would enrich your
Marcus
conversation
Rashford
or your
may for some
opinion.
reason, Marcus Rashford may for some reason, this is arguably his best season in 6 years or 7
years
of playing football.
It was from
and you want to
2016.
tell me Rashford is the best player?
Great,
You want to
great.
put him in the same conversation as Kylian Mbappe,
Great,
who has been
great.
doing it since he was 19. Now he's 24,
He scores
25.
35 and we don't consider
on,
him.
Kofi.
Great. I mean, when you spoke and you spoke about the fact that you kept mentioning the word highest level.
Highest level.
Highest level.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Highest level.
Yeah.
Let me pick out your list.
Yes.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Has he ever played and performed at the highest
Yes,
level?
he has.
highest
Yes, he
level,
has.
yes.
Where?
2016.
Where?
2016.
Where?
He's giving you a
2016.
2016, where?
And I'm telling you,
Where?
Champions League.
Oh, come on. I mean, you see,
Champions.
you are going round in circles.
I'm giving it
by
to you.
your own
I am
theory.
giving it to you.
You keep talking
No,
about
no,
the
no,
fact
no.
that you
Listen,
keep talking
I
about the
wanted
fact
to
that
even
it has
move
to be on a consistent basis.
On the consistent. I will give you the
I am
next one.
asking you where. Where did he perform?
2016.
What did he do?
2016.
2016, what did he
That
do?
was the first time they actually won the semi-final.
Who?
Manchester City versus what do you call it? PSG. It was his goal. It was his goal that progressed them to the
He may
first
not have won it.
2018
Hold
World
on,
Cup.
hold on.
2018
Hold
World
on.
Cup.
He
He was
led-
the reason why they beat Brazil.
Thank you very much. Maybe Kofi is looking at lifting
Hold on,
the
hold on,
ultimate.
hold
on,
That
hold
that
on,
is an
hold
ultra
on.
addition.
You see,
how many
how
times
many-
did
no, no, hold on.
I'm
No,
coming,
that's
Davos Suker. I'll
fine.
give you a typical example. How many trophies did they win with Croatia?
No, Davon Shuka for the World Cup he went to with Croatia.
they
set a national new.
Do you see? They
A
are
national news.
just like Belgium.
And what
No,
about
hold on,
like
hold
Belgium.
on, hold on.
It's the same thing that
Hold
Belgium
on,
also
hold
did.
on. You see, you talk
That was
about
the second time he had
argument
ever
of yours is
gone
flawed.
to the
you talk
semi-final.
about Davon Shuka.
Yes.
You talk about the things he did for Real Madrid. You talk about the things he did for Croatia.
In that France 98
great,
World Cup.
Great. I am absolutely.
Is he a world-class player?
I am
Davon
Davon
Shuka
Shuka was a world class player.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me ask you back to the Kevin De Bruyne. How many seasons has he been playing in the Champions League?
that I cannot officially tell you.
No.
He
You would have to be able
he
to
started
tell
with Chelsea
how
and
many
Wolves,
seasons has he been
He was
playing
in
in the
Chelsea
Champions
more than
League.
5
I
seasons.
ask you one
Oh, no,
simple
maybe about
question.
10
More than
seasons.
5 seasons.
A player, no.
It's about 10
No,
seasons.
Kevin De Bruyne has
Like
played
10
in the
seasons.
Champions League
I'm
for
saying
Chelsea
10
and-
I'm
seasons.
saying more than that.
10 seasons.
So,
I ask you a reference point and you're pointing to one.
I'm not
It
pointing-
defeats
I was-
your
no,
own
no.
logic about the fact that he has to be consistent
What about
at
at
the highest
Wolfsburg?
level.
What about at Wolfsburg?
What did he do with Wolfsburg?
He took the Wolfsburg team to the Champions League.
See,
I don't know if you are trying to
to
forget
end,
about
to
all
end,
of this.
to end.
Yes.
I
That's what-
think that it's
End your
easy.
point.
It's easy for a player like Harry Kane
Yeah.
to score 20 goals with Tottenham than it is for Rashford to score 20 goals with Manchester United. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because you see, people like Hasselbank, people like Defoe,
Yeah.
everywhere they've gone to, there's little class around them. So they become the pivotal figure.
Is that
you look
not-
at hold on,
is
hold
that
on,
not
hold on,
even
hold on.
more
No, hold
difficult
on,
because
hold on,
you
hold
are
on.
You
the
let him
only
talk.
player in there?
No, because see, the world class players they belong in a certain pantheon of superstars.
And Rashford belongs to that pantheon.
I am saying that it is easy for Harry Kane to score 20 goals with
No, I
Tottenham
don't be- I
than
don't
it
be-
is
I
for,
don't subscribe.
for Rashford to score 20 goals
not
with
true.
Manchester. It is true.
On what-
Absolutely
on
true.
what
Because
parameters?
at
On what
Tottenham,
parameters?
everything goes through him.
No.
Yes.
No.
At Tottenham,
Why would Son
everything
win?
goes
Why would
through
Son
him.
win the PL Golden Boot?
At Tottenham,
Why would they win?
they are outliers. At Tottenham,
don't be-
everything goes
You're
through Harry
contradicting
Kane.
yourself. Quickly, let's throw the conversation out there to our listeners. So, if you just joined in, we are live on Tadi FM 99.1, as well as you're watching us live on YouTube. This is our breakfast show. This is Sports Breakfast with Sports 101, and we're serving you the best of sports analysis. So, the conversation on board is, who would you consider a world-class player? not necessarily a player in mind. We just threw out there the name Marcus Rashford. Is Marcus Rashford a world-class player? Kofi believes Marcus Rashford belongs in the conversation of world-class. But we, myself and Percy, for once, we are in cahoot, agreeing that, listen, as good as Rashford has been this season, as good as people may think he is, he does not belong in the conversation of world class. We'll go back and read your comments in our YouTube section, but please let the super stickers come in. Let them keep coming. Those that are watching us in Europe, that are watching us outside Ghana, keep the super stickers coming and subscribe as well. Final words on this. Maybe you want to address something Kofi said, by your final words, 60 seconds.
In fact, with just that, not just the Kevin De Bruyne, but listen, if you want to address a player in the category of world class, and you are more concerned about the flamboyance, I threw in the bit of Darren Bent. Listen, how many players have played in the Premier League and have scored over 100? I might have my qualms about Lukaku. He's not a good ball handler. He's not whatever. But for whatever you can talk about him, he is a goal scorer. And he has proved it everywhere he's gone to. So for me, if you are talking about world class, it comes down to the consistency. I don't mind. Listen, some people even mention somebody like Van Persie over Lukaku.
Yeah.
But this very Lukaku has more goals than Van Persie. But then they would be like, okay, Van Persie came up in the ground. But listen, Lukaku, for whatever he did over that period of time, even if you take him at his time at Inter Milan, listen, if you are not a world-class player, he was able to, it was his goals that broke that dominance of the, what do you call it, the what do you call it?
If we leave you, you're going to talk. In my final submission, in my
It's
final
amazing
submission,
that
I want
Amazing
to
that
pick.
you chose Lukaku over Van Persie. It's
No,
amazing.
that's not what he's saying. Don't get him wrong. That's not what he's saying.
The newspaper reporter.
In my
You're
final
just choosing
submission,
what you want to talk about.
one point I would want to even add to the matrix of who a world-class player is. Pick that player, place him in every team, and he will walk into that team without any opposition.
No problem.
Pick Kevin De Bruyne. There's no team in this world that Kevin De Bruyne will
Pick
walk
Rashford.
in that team and will not start. Pick Rashford. Rashford will have to compete.
So is he better than Son?
And prove his way in a lot of big teams right now.
Ask him, is he better than Son?
Rashford will not start at Real Madrid.
He will start at Tottenham.
Rashford will not start at your PSG you claim is a French league. Rashford cannot start in Real Madrid and PSG, but Kevin De Bruyne will walk into PSG, would have a starting bed. Kevin De Bruyne will walk into Real Madrid and will start ahead of every single midfielder there. That
walk
is
into
one.
Real Madrid.
That is one. Yes, Kevin
Real
De Bruyne
Madrid
will
ahead
walk
of
into
who?
this current
Luka
Real
Modric.
Madrid side and start.
You walk
So you
into
see,
Real Madrid and
another.
start ahead of Luka Modric.
Add that one.
No,
Another
hold on,
matrix
hold on,
for
hold on,
categorizing somebody as world class is the player that can walk into any team.
De
and
Bruyne is
command
better
the
than
starting-
Modric at the moment.
He-
De Bruyne
Please,
is better than
De
Modric
Bruyne
at the
is-
moment.
De Bruyne
It is not.
is-
Listen,
is
he's better than Modric
at the moment. Anyway, guys, let me
It's
let
not
me,
about
let me,
opinion.
quick- let me quickly.
So you tell me, Rodrigo starts for Real Madrid.
He doesn't start.
Rodrigo starts for
He
Real
doesn't
Madrid.
start.
and
It's,
the three
it's,
back-
it's Valverde and Vinicius.
Rodrigo doesn't start.
And Benzema.
So
Rodrigo
Valverde
doesn't
is
start.
better than
No,
Rashford.
he plays away. Vinicius, you should go and you say
plays as-
Vinicius.
No, one thing you don't
Valverde is
forget.
better
One thing
than
you
Rashford.
forget.
That's
Valverde
fine. Let's
is
move on.
actually
Read
an
your comments.
attacking
Let's move on.
midfielder.
So he's
been evolving.
That's fine. Read your comments.
Let me take our comments, guys. What do you think? So let me read some few comments that have come in. Kofi, maybe you can start with the comments. Then we'll take them on as they go. But if you are enjoying the conversation, this is Breakfast with Sports 101, our sports breakfast. It comes off every Saturday morning, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. We're also live on Tardy FM. Listeners on Tardy FM will put across the WhatsApp line so that you can send your messages via WhatsApp. If you are listening to us on Tardy FM, Percy will put the WhatsApp line and we'll be reading your WhatsApp messages. So keep your messages coming both on YouTube and on WhatsApp as well. Kofi, some few comments there.
Some few comments on YouTube. Emmanuel Ankama says he's watching us live from Tarkwa. Please, if you're watching us live from Tarkwa, spread the good news. Tell your friends to subscribe and then just visit the Sports 101 YouTube page. Subscribe and then like and comment and watch all of the videos. Then you have Anthony, Kofi, Apostle watching live from Yabio. PHA says that Rashford is nowhere near a world-class player. PK says, good morning, guys. Watching you live from Racecourse. Pius Sefor says, Kofi, don't get ahead of yourself. Rashford is not a world-class player.
Never.
Then he goes on to say, never. Anthony Kofi says, Rashford is a good player, but to consider him world-class will be an abuse of language. Opinions. I mean, it's the reason why we've always signed that charter for democracy. So everybody.
What do you also think? Maybe we can have a poll so that we get to know what people think. If Rashford is a world-class player, but what do you also think? Listen,
my friend Percy
who would you
chose
consider as a
Lukaku
world-class
over Van
player?
Persie.
I didn't
That's not what you said. Don't get ahead of yourself. But over the weekend, on Thursday, I mean, great news came out. You know, the Premier League Hall of Fame inductees and Arsene Wenger, Sir Alex Ferguson are being inducted in the Premier League Hall of Fame. I think that there's a pool out there to also induct the players who have been nominated. There's Yaya Toure in there, a couple of players in there that the fans have to vote to get these players inducted in this year's Hall of Fame. But my major concern is with the two managers that have been nominated. Before we even discuss what we want to talk about, 60 seconds on your view on this whole Premier League, nominating Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm happy we talked about world class.
Yeah.
I would probably ask you questions about Arsene Wenger when we get to his section.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger won how many league titles?
Three.
Three in 20
What do you
years.
make of their induction?
Yes, 20 plus years.
20
Three in
plus.
20 plus years. I will ask you questions about world class man.
That's
I mean,
what
I'm
we're here.
sure we talk
It's
about.
21.
Yes, so 21, three league titles.
Yeah.
World
Seven
class
every year.
world class Arsene Wenger. Well, we will talk about that later. I think that it's a good novelty for the EPL.
Yeah.
Obviously, the EPL is a money-making machine.
Yeah.
And the people who are the think tank behind the EPL, they are always looking for new innovations to spread the tentacles of the EPL, to bring new products that people would easily buy into. And I think that this is a fantastic new product by the EPL to do something that for a long time existed in the North Americas. You understand? I mean, for a long time, the people in the West or in Europe did not even consider some of these novelties.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, all of these existed in the EPL, in the NBA, in the MLB, in most North American sports. You understand? To bring it into the EPL, I think it's a great thing. What it does is it still generates a lot of conversations, even after some of these who have
Exactly.
walked through the history of the EPL have gone. So it's generating conversation, it's generating substantive conversation, it's generating enough revenue, you understand? Because you can quantify all of this conversation and the revenue that is involved with this kind of conversation. So smart move by
Smart
the
move.
EPL.
Add to it, is Arsene Wenger underrated? I'm asking this question because for those who understand coaching and for those who have followed the Premier League for long, when we talk about 5, 6, 7 managers in the Premier League who have defined the Premier League, I think that Arsene Wenger cannot be left out. He's left a mark in the Premier League that I strongly believe that would go on to probably transcend generations. But a lot of people do not see it that way. Is Arsene Wenger underrated? Quick one.
Well, I am glad we just talked up the subject of Marcus Rashford. You guys gave me a lot of lectures.
I'm not talking about him being overrated.
No.
Is he underrated?
Yes, I will come there. You gave me a lot of lectures on consistency. You gave me a lot of lectures on performing on the grandest of stages. I have taken those lectures with good faith. Arsene Wenger is the Rashford of coaching. Basically, he's the Rashford of coaching.
Why do you say so?
Underrated? I wouldn't begrudge anybody for underrating Arsene Wenger because honestly, what did he do? Beyond all of the shenanigans, beyond being in the supposedly challenging Alex Ferguson, what did he do?
He won 3 Premier League titles.
In 21 years. I mean,
He
put
won-
it that way. No, hold
he
on.
won
Hold
5
on.
FA Cup trophies. He won the Carabao Cup.
Hold on,
Everything there is to win in the Premier League, this man has touched it before.
Hold on. You want to consider the reign of Arsene Wenger, juxtapose it with one of his longest, bitterest rivals, and you want to compare their records, you want to compare their achievements together. You don't want to associate the tag world class with Alex Ferguson, and then associate it with same tag with Arsene Wenger.
We are not talking about world class. We are not comparing Ferguson.
We are talking about whether the manager is
underrated.
Well,
look at him as a manager.
Well, I think Arsene Wenger probably was a Ben Kofi. He brought a lot of good things to the EPL. He was the guy who was the pioneer for leading the charge for dietary changes in players, their sleep patterns and all of that, you understand. So he was the guy. I mean, he was a good innovation guy. I mean, we talk about the fact that he's somebody who brought a lot of rule changes to when he came back from Japan to the PL. He brought a lot of rule changes. So like a Ben Kofi, he implemented a policy. He brought a lot of changes, but sadly, his core duties, the things that he was supposed to be doing on the pitch, coaching teams to win major trophies, coaching teams to win the league, coaching teams to win the Champions League, even when they had gone a whole season unbeaten. I think sadly, he failed at his core duties. And I challenge anybody listening to me or watching us live on YouTube that, listen, I wouldn't begrudge anybody for thinking Arsene Wenger is underrated. Because if you look at his record, if you look at his longevity, if you look at what Pep Guardiola has been able to do in this short time, if you look at what other managers have been able to do in the time that they've been managers of their club, and what Arsene Wenger had the free will to do with Arsenal, and then what he achieved, I wouldn't begrudge anybody for thinking he's underrated.
Kofi, I disagree with you, on a colossal scale. Listen, you spoke about Arsene Wenger and you try to compare him with Sir Alex Ferguson. That is a wrong move because we are looking at Arsene Wenger as a manager. But if you are watching us, again, we are shooting live from Noble House Restaurant, an amazing place. Just come, pass by, grab your lunch, grab your dinner. Amazing place. You will love the food. As I was saying, I feel that Arsene Wenger is very, very much underrated. I say underrated because, listen, I always see managers as people who leave legacies. And I'm not talking about bad legacies. Managers who leave legacies. Obviously, the manager that won Chelsea's Champions League in 2000 and was it 2000? Di Matteo. He won the Champions League, but he did not leave a legacy.
He did.
In the Premier League. He did not leave a legacy in the Premier League.
With Chelsea.
My point is, if you look at everything, I'm speaking about the context of the Premier League. Everything that Arsene Wenger has in his career as an Arsenal manager is very much underrated because people are seeing, then they are rating his coaching career in terms of numbers. Yes, numbers are very important and very crucial. But with Arsene Wenger, it goes beyond numbers. You spoke about he bringing a lot of changes in terms of how he sees the game to be played. Listen, we had seen a lot of managers come before Arsene Wenger, but Arsene Wenger is one of the managers that brought free-flowing, attacking football to the Premier League. Fact. He changed the dynamism of how he feels the game should play with Arsenal and the kind of players he even brought to Arsenal. Not only are we talking about how the game should be played in terms of player development, he's one of the very few managers in world football, not just the Premier League, but in world football, who, when we talk about player development, you can mention Arsene Wenger's name. And I can give you a list of players that Arsene Wenger have brought up, and as we speak, we hail them.
Please do.
First name that comes in mind is a player like, what's his name? The former Barcelona guy, Cesc Fabregas.
Arsene Wenger made Fabregas.
Fabregas was
don't even go there. Fabregas was nobody at Barcelona. Fabregas was made.
Give us the list.
Fabregas was made by Arsene Wenger.
No problem.
Thierry Henry was literally ending his career as Juventus. This guy goes to pick him up. Unless somebody wants to tell me that at the time Arsene Wenger brought Thierry Henry from Juventus, Thierry Henry was even averaging 12 goals at Juventus. Thierry Henry was a bench warmer at Juventus when Arsene Wenger signed him because he had seen his potential in France. When he brought him to Arsenal, Thierry Henry, I do not know what kind of medicine the guy go take, but all of a sudden Thierry Henry become a world-class player. You and I will agree. Thierry Henry was Thierry Henry or is Thierry Henry basically because of Arsene Wenger. I can give you a list.
Please go on.
Dennis Beckham, when he was at Ajax, Dennis Beckham was just a young 17, 18-year-old boy. But the Dennis Beckham we have come to know and the Dennis Beckham we have come to see is because of his exploit at Arsenal, and he was replicated in the national team. The list is endless. But the point I'm trying to make is, let's not look at Arsene Wenger in the light of just the number of league trophies and just oppose that to the number of years he has spent in the Premier League. If we do that, obviously, you can. If
you know a coach who doesn't develop
players.
If
you do that, if you do that, you would mar the conversation.
Do you know a coach who hasn't developed?
Oh, there are a lot of coaches that players have failed.
Please.
There are a lot of coaches.
Do you know a coach? No, my question is forthright.
Don't derail my thought.
Do you know a coach who has not developed?
Oh yes, there are a lot of coaches who have not. Jose Mourinho comes first in mind.
Seriously,
he fails in developing players.
Seriously, you want us to go? No, you want us to go there.
Comes in mind.
You want us to go there?
Did
you know Luis Alberto? Did you know Deco? Did you know Deco?
Please.
Did you know Luis Alberto?
Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there.
Just center on this.
Let's not even go there. The point I'm trying to make here is,
even bring that one in.
The point I'm trying to make here is, when you talk about managers who, obviously, like I said, you can win something, you can develop one or two players, but we are talking about consistency and what the players have gone to achieve post you developing them. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that Arsene Wenger is one of those managers that people undermine because of his years spending at Chelsea. But you see, we made mention of consistency. This is a manager in his tenure, barring his last years at Arsenal, there is never a season that would go by that you will not mention Arsenal in the vein of potential winners. There was a time. There was a time for 5 seasons running. The competition was between Arsene Wenger and there was a time.
I want to know if you're honest. I want to know if you're honest. Was Wenger a world-class player, manager?
Interrupting me and asking me questions?
No.
Let me finish making my point. The point I'm trying to make here is that let's not look at the man in terms of the years and what he has won. Consistency, because if your name is always mentioned in terms of who is amongst the teams that is going to win the Premier League for 5 seasons running, that is consistency. There was a time that there is no manager that come close between these two, Arsene Wenger and what is it called? Sir Alex Ferguson. They were consistent in terms of they going head to head in who wins the Premier League. Finally, in the history of the Premier League.
Yes.
See, if not for anything, in the history of the Premier League and even world football, name one manager that has been able to lead a team to go unbeaten.
No, in world football.
I'm coming. Let me finish my matrices. Let me finish my matrices.
I was talking about Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte did it. Antonio Conte did one.
Go unbeaten, setting records.
I'm giving them to you.
What record did Antonio Conte set?
You said unbeaten. I'm giving it to you.
I am coming.
Arrigo Sacchi did one.
I'm coming. I'm finishing my matrix. I'm saying
he did it for 2 years.
I'm coming. I'm coming. See, go unbeaten, breaking in that season, breaking every single record there is.
He didn't break. Preston Norton still has it. Preston still has it. No, you don't say he broke. No, we understand he made that record, but he didn't break anything.
We sit here and we say
it was in the Premier League area.
We sit here and we attribute the Invincibles to who?
Preston Norton.
Oh, come on. Let's not kid.
Arsenal did it, but it's not as if it's not been done.
Join this conversation with in the era of the millennium era.
Millennium 2000s.
From, let's even include the 90s.
90s, okay.
Who would you rank amongst who do you think is the greatest manager of all time? And guys, our posters did their thing. So the names are Carlo Ancelotti, Sir Alex Ferguson. If you think there's somebody who should be in there like you did last week,
Don't worry. Some people don't have to be there.
Carlo Ancelotti, Sir Alex Ferguson, Zinedine Zidane,
No Wenger.
Continue. You continue.
Jose Mourinho, and Pep Guardiola. Let me repeat the names.
No Wenger.
There's no Wenger.
No, there's no Wenger.
That's
Sir
so
Alex
unfair to
Ferguson,
Wenger, man.
Sir Alex Ferguson,
That's so unfair to
Carlo
Wenger.
Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Zinedine Zidane, and Pep Guardiola. These 5 managers, who do you think is the greatest manager of all time? Percy.
Okay, so I start from the 90s.
Who do you think is the
Okay, no
greatest
problem.
Or do you think there should be somebody
I'm coming,
who should
I'm
be in
coming.
there?
But there's no Wenger.
Oh, I'm coming.
Do you think there should be somebody
First of all,
in there?
before I even start,
Yeah.
We talked about Rashford. I'm not going there. I beg you. Don't bring Wenger anywhere near world-class managers. I beg you. No, I'm just saying this before you continue.
Please.
Let me get to what I'm saying.
Maybe our listeners might get confused. Nobody has said Wenger is a world-class manager.
Oh, so
Question
he
was-
wasn't.
Oh, okay,
the
so he
question
isn't.
was,
So he
is
isn't.
Arsene Wenger or was Arsene Wenger underrated?
So he wasn't.
Underrating someone.
He
does
was
not
where
mean
he's
the
supposed to
person
be. In fact, he's
belongs
where
to
we.
the
He
category
is
of world
where
class.
he has to
Let's
be.
set the record
Whatever
straight.
we talk about,
Address
he is.
the
So.
issue.
Now let me come to it.
Address the issue.
What is Zinedine Zidane doing there? Is it because of 3 Champions
So
Leagues?
you feel he doesn't belong in that conversation?
Oh, for me, I'll put Del Bosque there. Why is there no Del Bosque? Why do people forget about him?
That's a very brilliant point to
No,
make.
by you
Vicente Del
people,
Bosque.
he's the only person. He's won Euros,
Yeah.
a World Cup,
World Cup,
a La Liga,
a La Liga,
a Champions League,
League.
a Copa del Rey, and you forget about
So
him.
you will
Ottoman
replace.
Hitzfeld.
I'm coming. Oh,
Ottoman Hitzfeld.
Kofi, relax
So
for me.
you can the posters.
Job
did their
Hankins,
thing.
I'm coming.
The
I'm coming.
posters
Oh,
did their
my
thing.
man.
So
I'm taking some out. I'm doing
Yeah.
additional subtraction.
Yeah.
You said Ferguson.
Ferguson,
Uh-huh.
Jose Mourinho,
Oh, I can't take Mourinho out.
Carlo Ancelotti,
I can't take him out.
Pep Guardiola, and Zinedine
I
Zidane.
think Zidane has to go.
To
So
replace who? Who should replace him?
I just mentioned Del Bosque.
Del Bosque. So you have given us Percy's list: Vicente Del Bosque,
In no
Carlo,
particular order.
in no particular order. Guys, don't get it twisted. In no particular order: Vicente Del Bosque, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, and Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, who do you think, quickly, because we are running out of time, quickly, who do you think
Therefore, this-
deserves to be given the tag, the greatest manager in our generation?
This one. It is an obvious. We don't need to make a lot of arguments
Who is
about
it?
it. I'm saying we don't need to.
So
A manager is first of all.
make your point.
He's first of all being measured by trophies. None of these managers comes close to Ferguson according to trophies.
38
for
trophies.
Yes, for that I won't even talk about it. To win the league 13 times. See, one of the reasons why people are talking about, and he was in the league for a very long time, so he should win. Listen, how do you convince somebody who has won a treble that next season will win? How do you convince him?
Zidane.
How do you convince somebody who has won a treble, proud to the treble, they've won 4 league titles,
Make your-
that
make
next
your-
season we
make-
should go and
make your
win?
point.
I am trying to say that for whatever Ferguson did,
Yeah.
he showed Wenger that longevity at a place, it takes more than just coaching
Okay.
to win for a very long time. So for undisputed, not even our generation, since ever we started playing football from wherever,
You think that Alex Ferguson
not about
is
that.
the,
It is-
no, if you say it's not about a thing, try to make
and
it
I'm
look
and I'm
like
and
that
I'm,
is
and
what
I'm
it
trying
is.
to say that the matrices are 1, the trophies,
Uh-huh.
2, the players you have developed. Now you are talking about this coach who has developed more players than Ferguson.
well.
Who has even developed more players who have even turned into if you want to talk about coaches, who have turned into coaches. It got to a time he had about 3 of his players who were coaching in the Premier League.
Okay.
There was Mark Hughes, there was Steve Bruce, there was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the same league.
Okay.
So if it is the trophies, he's ahead.
Yeah.
If it has to do with the players that he has also managed, it has to do with diversity, changing things to suit seasons.
Yeah.
There has been no manager who has done that more than Ferguson.
Yeah.
He can go 3 years playing 4-3-3, another 3 years playing 4-2-3-1, and all of that. So ahead, I will give it to him. Now the second manager that I will put there,
No,
which
who is the greatest?
Oh,
We're not
they-
looking
oh,
at-
no, no,
then
no.
later we'll come back and you give your top 5.
okay.
No,
let me just put everything there. So that will just
Okay, after that, we'll not come
me
back
and
to
I
you.
will don't come to
Okay.
me. That I'll give my time to
Number
them.
two.
So
You give
number
it
1
time
is
to me.
Ferguson.
Number 2.
Number 2 is something that people will not really talk about. But I'll put Mourinho and say number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I'll put Mourinho there is that after Ferguson, the rest of them have one thing in common. which Mourinho is the only one who comes out of that fold that has to do with checkbook. All of them are checkbook managers.
Hey,
Listen, every single one of
Pep
Guardiola.
Pep Guardiola, checkbook.
Guardiola is one.
Checkbook manager.
What do you call it? Mourinho himself is one. Ancelotti. I'm coming. I said something. Ancelotti himself is one.
I'm even quiet. We already talk. Finish making your point.
What do you call it? Del Bosque is one because he was in the first Galactico era.
Yeah.
But the only difference is that Mourinho has gone out of his way to take another team for another period of time without a checkbook. And he's done it twice. And they were rather the times that he actually won the ultimate.
What did you mean when you say he picks a team without a checkbook?
I'm trying to say that
He meant-
all of them
he meant-
are checkbook managers,
he meant
including
Porto.
Jose Mourinho.
including himself.
Yes.
But he's the only one that has won the ultimate or has still remained very relevant away from checkbook and still won the ultimate.
Away from checkbook, how?
I mean,
Didn't
Porto.
Jose Mourinho sign big players at Inter?
I'm coming.
Porto.
Didn't he dip his
I'm coming.
his fingers in the coffers of Inter money?
At Porto.
So that's what I'm saying.
I'm
Clarify.
coming. I'm clarifying.
So if he's even out of his
If
way
you are
to-
talking about dipping his money into Porto, tell me.
I didn't mention Porto.
I'm coming. You
I
mentioned
said
Porto.
Inter
And
Milan.
I'll come to Inter Milan.
Yeah, we'll come
Tell
to
me
Inter
the
Milan.
player he bought at Inter Milan who was worth 30 million. Do you know the funny thing that Mourinho's highest, the player that he's bought, before
Don't worry,
you go to Manchester United,
I'll get it for you.
the player that he bought with the highest amount of money was not even up to 50 million. But let me just stick to Porto. When he took Porto, his budget for Porto, in fact, if you take the whole team, Deco, what do you call it? Luis Alberto, Benny McCarthy, and Victor Bayer and his likes. These were average players. And that was the first time that he announced himself to the world, winning the Europa, winning the Champions, and leaving
Back to back.
back to back. For the Chelsea, I told you it is just like, of course, all of the other teams fine. When he gets to Inter, tell me the player that he bought with a checkbook that is so much, or with an amount that is so much. How much did he buy Snyder from Madrid? Snyder was an outcast of Madrid. Who knew Diego Milito?
Pandev.
Cambiaso was an outcast. Pandev was not known.
Militao.
Lucio was somebody who has passed his prime. He had already played by Bayern, and he was done.
Militao.
Dejan Stankovic, who knew him? Ivan Cordoba, who knew him? Christian Kivu, who knew him? What's the name of their keeper? Louis, what do you call it? Caesar.
Julio Cesar.
Julio Cesar. Now, Eto'o was the one that was prized from, what do you call it, Barca. And Ibrahimovic moved. He didn't buy Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic had already moved from Juve to. So the only player that you will say that probably he bought that player at a high price was Eto'o. And even that one was a swap.
Yeah.
That he bought him to that place. If you take him out and you go to Pep Guardiola for everything he's done, of course, he's won more trophies than the other three left.
So that's your third. Quickly.
I am just making a
No,
comparison.
because of time. So quickly.
My third.
Who will be your third?
My
Real
third
manager?
would be Pep Guardiola. I'll put him on the third
Okay.
position.
Who will be your fourth?
My fourth would be Ancelotti.
Then who will be your last?
Hey, sorry. My fourth would be Del
Vicente
Bosque.
Del Bosque and Ancelotti.
I'll
last.
put Ancelotti on the last.
So Percy ranks Sir Alex Ferguson first as the greatest manager of all time.
I'll put Mourinho second.
Mourinho second, Pep Guardiola third, Vicente Del Bosque fourth, Carlo Ancelotti.
Not all time. You gave us a time range. If it was all time, Sam would be out.
This generation, Carlo Ancelotti as his fifth. Kofi, who do you think should be in there? He feels Zinedine Zidane does not belong in the
Zidane belongs
conversation.
there.
So who do you think is the
Zidane
greatest
belongs
manager of
there.
our generation? You disagree with him on the bit Zinedine Zidane should not be in there?
No, Zidane belongs there. I mean,
Okay.
you
So who do you
talk
think
about-
is the greatest manager of all time in our
Percy
generation?
makes a profound statement about the fact that how do you convince somebody who has won the treble to go out there and win another trophy?
Yeah.
How do you convince somebody who has won the Champions League once to do it with that same group again and not do it again?
And again.
Again and again. And you see, people are fickle. They think that, because, listen, there's a reason why we issue or we deal in the issues of relativity. People tell me that, how many years has Zidane been in management? you can quickly do an extrapolation for all the things that Zidane has done in a short managerial stint. There's no denying the fact that if he was a manager who had been there for 15 years, there's no denying the fact that based on trend analysis, he would have won a lot more.
Based on trend, that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what trophy in this world has Zidane not won?
The World Cup.
As a manager,
As a manager, he's only coached a club side.
yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
so
So
he's
you're
What
analyzing.
trophy at the club side has Zidane not won?
Yeah, he's won everything.
In how many years?
In a little over 3 years, 4 years.
So you see, when people make that mistake, and you see, I would, my greatest manager, I agree perfectly with Ferguson, with Percy on the
You believe
Ferguson
it's
bit.
Alex
Oh,
Ferguson?
I think he's the greatest manager.
Yeah.
The only manager to have won the league back to back on 6 occasions.
On 2 occasions, in terms
6
of doing
occasions.
the treble.
No, hold on. Every other 3 years he won the league.
Yeah.
The
It was
times
never beyond
that the times that he did not win the league for 3 years, in 3 years, he did a three-peat.
okay.
A three-peat.
Okay.
Twice. You understand?
And he lost the
And
fourth one all on the last day.
he was a master of evolution
Okay.
because Ferguson believed in that theory. Yeah, and even long before all this theory about players going through a cycle of 4 years, reaching their peak.
Yeah.
We can cite the Liverpool example, reaching their peak and then not regenerating after the 4-year cycle. Ferguson was a master of that.
Yeah.
So you remember I think in the early 2000s when he was interviewed by the Harvard University. You know, he went to teach a certain course
Yeah,
at
I
Harvard
remember very
University. When he was introduced, he said that he did that by creating age belts
Yeah.
in his team. So there was the age belt of the 20s and then the mid 20s and the players who had gone beyond 30s. So the plan was that there was a constant procurement of talent from the younger version to that middle belt and then to that experienced belt. Then he was a manager who was ruthless with even world-class players. Never allowed them to become the bad apples in the dressing room. So Ferguson, without a shred of that, I don't think that anybody comes close to Alex Ferguson.
Okay. So give us your
Number
top 5.
2, I think I would put Ancelotti. Number
Okay.
2. For everything. And you see, Ancelotti is not a talker. He's a doer. He does not like to dabble in the eyes of the media words and unnecessary. No. I don't think I'll put Ancelotti number 2. I'll put Jose Mourinho. Forgive me. I'll put Jose Mourinho next to Alex Ferguson because I think Jose Mourinho is absolutely phenomenal for a manager. He ticks all the boxes.
Okay.
He's box office. You understand? Jose Mourinho is box office. I mean, I struggle to find managers who can compete with players for box office status.
Of course.
Jose Mourinho is everything you dream about in a manager. You might not like his methods, but it's about the end justifying the means. So Jose Mourinho number 2. I'll put Ancelotti number 3. Ancelotti, phenomenal. Yes, there was that episode about leading Liverpool 3-0, getting his players drunk in Milan, and Liverpool doing magic in Istanbul
Also
because the
substantiated.
Milan players
Yeah,
were
yeah.
drunk. I mean, the Milan players were drunk at halftime.
Unsubstantiated.
I mean, this is confirmed from Ancelotti himself.
From-
So I'll put Ancelotti number 3. I'll put Zinedine Zidane number 4.
Okay.
Zinedine Zidane, number 4. I've always told people that the best job you can have at a club side, the best and the most difficult job you can have at a club side is the job at Real Madrid.
Okay.
That he's gone to Madrid and done everything he's done. That he's the only manager in contemporary times not to have won the Champions League back to back. No manager has been able to do it. Alex Ferguson, for all of his greatness, yeah, he took his team, I think, twice in back-to-back finals, but he didn't win it. You understand? But for Zidane to do what he did with Madrid, back to back, and winning every trophy there is to win at club side, no, Zidane is marvelous.
Okay.
Number 4, maybe I'll put my good friend Pep Guardiola. I mean, he has to round up. I mean, the number
Okay.
5, I think Pep Guardiola, checkbook manager. He's always sort depended on checkbook. I mean, people have talked about his methods. I think a lot of them are like dragons and reptiles and all of these. What's the name of that horse? That horse, unicorn.
Unicorn.
Unicorns, dragons, ultra. I think a lot of the things that are said about Pep Guardiola are myths. You understand? And they create a myth. They try to feed us into that myth that he's a manager who changes players, likes players play in a particular way. Please, I'll put him at number 5 because of his achievements, and I think that is it for me.
So, guys, what do you think? The topic we are trying to dissect right now. We've moved on from the players to world class. That's about the managers. And I mean, in the modern day era, from the 90s, 2000s till now, who would you rank as the greatest manager of all time? There are people who are watching us who probably did not watch so much of Vicente Del Bosque. There are people who are watching us who did not watch so much of the early days of Carlo Ancelotti at Milan. But the posters did their thing and they ranked these managers, as in the randomly. So Pep Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Zinedine Zidane, and your man, Sir Alex Ferguson. These 5 managers, who would you rank as the greatest manager of all time? So my guys have had their say. Percy believes that is Sir Alex Ferguson. Kofi also believes that it's Sir Alex Ferguson. So I want to give my matrices. My matrices would eliminate certain managers. Then probably 1 or 2 managers will stand. First of all, I believe that great managers should be able to not just develop players, but improve players. And I can say for a fact, Sir Alex Ferguson is one of those managers. This is a manager who developed players at Manchester United, brought lots of young players from the Manchester United Academy. At some point, Manchester United became synonymous with, grooming young talents from the academy. That's fact. Yes, he bought players, but in terms of player development, first name that comes in mind is Cristiano Ronaldo. This is a manager who brought in Ronaldo from Sporting. Yes, he was a good player, but Ronaldo blossomed into world status under Sir Alex Ferguson. He deserves that credit. A lot of players have passed through Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson that I feel that credit can only be given to Sir Alex Ferguson. The Korean guy, Hernandez, Jason Park, Hernandez, the Mexican guy, lots of players. So he ticks that box. Secondly, I believe that great managers should be able to translate what's in their mind into the heart of the players and for them to be able to deliver on the pitch. If you may have great ideas as a manager, but if your players cannot replicate those ideas onto the pitch, I don't consider you a great manager. A typical example is the phone caller, the serial caller Ralph Ragnick. Man with brilliant ideas. Oh yes, Kofi Alai. Man with brilliant ideas.
Same as Wenger.
But Ralph Ragnick, when Ralph Ragnick sits in an interview,
Lucky, that's so unfair.
But that's true. He's a serial caller. He talks more like a serial caller than a coach. Man with brilliant ideas, but his ability to get the players to play what he wants them or how he wants them to play is a problem. So for me, a great manager should be able to do that. Listen, a manager can have all he may have on paper, but then to be able to translate that idea into their hearts and for the players to be able to exhibit that on the pitch is something that, listen, you deserve commendation for. Jose Mourinho did that. Sir Alex Ferguson did that. Pep Guardiola has done that. The managers are in there. Carlo Ancelotti. I feel like, listen, Zinedine Zidane deserves to be in there. But when you made mention of Vicente Del Bosque, then it drew my mind that the posters have not been fair, because it looks like the posters concentrated on club football.
But he was also phenomenal.
He was also phenomenal for Real Madrid.
He wasn't sacked for any.
He wasn't sacked for any. But for him to be able to pick Spain and do what he did with Spain, especially when Spain had failed over the years to win any major, I believe that the one manager that should not belong in the list is Zinedine Zidane. Listen, I can give you
Champions League.
No, I'm talking about
a Carlo Ancelotti.
Del Bosque.
Listen, the matrix is like I've said. Trophies is listen, no matter how good you are a manager, you should be able to deliver trophies at the highest level. There's a reason why we do not mention Marcelo Bielsa as a great manager, though he has awesome ideas. Marcelo Bielsa has awesome ideas. He's also, for me, a serial caller of a manager. Awesome ideas. Even managers look up to him. Pep Guardiola, I remember a point where Sir Alex Ferguson spoke about the impact of Marcelo Bielsa on world football. Great manager, but then he didn't win anything in terms of anything. So So for me, trophies are very important. You look at all these managers. Sir Alex Ferguson trumps all of them. 38 major league trophies, followed by Pep Guardiola with 34 major league trophies, followed by Jose Mourinho with 28 major league trophies, followed by Carlo Ancelotti with 24, then Vicente Del Bosque. I've already eliminated Zinedine Zidane. The reason I'm eliminating Zinedine Zidane because if you look at all these managers, one thing that is synonymous is that they have not left legacies in terms of just with the club, but on world football.
Yeah.
World football. Listen, for everything people may say about Jose Mourinho, you mentioned Park the Bus with Chelsea, and the only name that comes
it's
to mind,
actually in the dictionary now.
yeah,
It's in the dictionary.
the first name that comes to mind is synonymous with Jose Mourinho. Yeah. And you see, you may not have like his methods, but truth be told, he defined Chelsea's era with playing that particular football. Likewise, Sir Alex Ferguson, he defined right now, I think 2 weeks ago, before we went on that international break, when Manchester United, were doing series of comebacks, the first thing that comes to mind was the United spirit is back. Who instilled that United spirit? Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't think United had something like a United spirit pre-Sir Alex Ferguson.
Well, it's arguable.
So for me, what I'm trying to say is they have left imprint on world football, because you mentioned United and it's like, especially when you were playing United under Ferguson, it's not over until it's over. They proved that in the Champions League final with Bayern Munich. Likewise, Pep Guardiola, whatever you may say about him, he's left a certain imprint in world football in terms of identity of play. Likewise, like I said, I brought in the Jose Mourinho bit. For whatever it is, he didn't invent the tiki-taka. No. But the modern day football, he highlighted it with what he did with Barcelona. Everybody says it. I remember Alex Ferguson in his biography speak about that Barcelona team of 2009 and that team of 2011 that United lost to us. For him, he thinks they are the best. That team is the best team he's ever played as a manager because of how they play. So if you look at all these matrices, aside Zinedine Zidane winning the three-peat with Real Madrid, what legacy has he left in terms of imprint on world football? Listen, Vicente Del Bosque,
maybe
he is the reason.
No, maybe
he
Zidane
is the reason Spain can say we are world champions, not just world champions on the grandest of stages, but on the European stage. He won with them in 2010, goes back in 2012, wins the same, playing a particular brand of football. So I am eliminating Zidane on that basis, because on all the indices I've given, player development, improving players, they all tick those boxes. Zinedine Zidane necessarily, in terms of players that you can mention, the one player that comes to mind is Valverde.
What about Marco Asensio?
Oh, Marco Asensio, up to now, for me, you and I will not believe, as he doesn't even belong in the category of. He doesn't even belong in the category of Rashford.
No, but you talk about the impact on the world stage. Do you not think that in the years to come, if anybody wants to do a back-to-back in the Champions League, they will refer to Zidane? Yes.
The point I'm trying to make
it was not doable on
the point I'm trying to make. Yes, something may not have been doable.
I think that Zidane has written his name in the Guinness Book of Records.
There's a reason why he's still unemployed. People say he wants the French job, yet they will not give it to him because they don't want to sack Vicente. There's a reason why he's unemployed. Chelsea want a manager. There's Zidane. They didn't go for Zidane. A lot of money.
No, he doesn't want the Chelsea job. He doesn't want the Chelsea job.
Unless
Zidane. He's gotten to that point where he's choosy about where he wants to go.
Not your opinion saying Zidane says, unless you tell me, or I read a transcript saying that Zidane has said categorically, I don't want to coach any club. But we know that he has said that I
should believe your word, right?
That's what he said.
You just
said that
that's
he's unemployed because
what he said.
I'm coming. That is what Zidane said, that he wants the French national team.
Exactly, and obviously he doesn't have anything to prove again.
He has not said that he wants club football. But
but what is there for him to do in club football? He's done. He's completed the football. He's completed.
Now let me rank my managers. The ultimate for me, my indices is that trophies is the ultimate. Secondly, player development, player improvement. Third, style. These are my major matrices.
And style is objective,
he spoke
subjective.
He spoke of Jose Mourinho not buying players. You know how much he bought Wesley Sneijder for?
How much did he
In
buy?
his last season, he bought Wesley Sneijder for 38 million euros. In his last season at Inter, the record is here.
38,
He bought 10 players in one season.
How much?
In
How much?
his
How
last
much?
season.
Collectively, how much?
You see,
I gave
you see,
I-
what
38 million, and you are making noise about it.
these,
38.
these were your very own words. You said
Pep Guardiola bought Grealish for
you said-
100 million
you said
pounds.
Jose Mourinho at Inter did
not
not
spend.
buy a player for more than 30 million. These were your words.
So, okay. Give me
And
the-
I am telling you that at Inter Milan in his last season, when they won the treble, he bought Wesley Sneijder for 38 million euros. He bought Diego Milito. He
how
actually
much?
For how much?
No, it is not about you
For
said
how much?
no.
But I
No, but
mentioned
you
Diego
have been
Milito.
fair.
No,
I'm coming.
You have
No,
to
I'm
be
coming.
fair to
Giving
his
them-
comment.
no.
I'm coming. I am addressing Percy. Let me
So
finish.
give them
Let
the
me
price. He
finish.
bought Milito.
I am addressing the issue of you saying
No problem.
he didn't
So-
buy a player for not more than 30, and that is factually incorrect.
So give that to Milito.
Because he bought a player for more than 30.
So give the
so,
Milito.
So that is defeated. You didn't tell me that he didn't buy Jose
No,
Milito.
why
But
you
what
know?
I'm
Why
saying
you
is that
take
what-
for everything I said? Why did you just take one out of it? I said
Josh.
he did not spend as much as he spent in the other
Josh,
teams.
I'm
as
saying
he
Josh.
spent
I'm saying
in
Josh.
Porto
Percy,
and Inter.
Percy.
So
My-
you talk about Milito. Talk about Milito.
My point is, he bought Goran Pendev
Uh-huh.
for 28 million euros.
Uh-huh.
He bought this is the list, and I'm not making
no
it
problem.
up.
So
He bought Wesley Sneijder 38.
Uh-huh.
He buys Marco Anatovic for 32.
he bought
32. Anatovic for 32 million euros. Go
He
and check.
bought Marco Arnautovic
for 32.
for
Go and
32
check.
million
I'm telling you,
euros.
this is the guy who bought one season. He bought 10 players.
He bought Marco Arnautovic
We
for
all-
32 million
Go and
euros.
check. It is here. He goes on to
No, is it a down payment of 32
that one,
million?
I don't know whether it is-
no,
whether
no,
it
no.
is they spread
no,
it
no,
or not.
No. For instance, if you talk about Manchester United buying Lukaku, how much did they buy Lukaku?
How much do we say?
No, how much did they buy
How much do we
Lukaku?
say this guy was cost? What's his name? Darwin Nunes, your man.
100 million euro.
But you know he's not up to 100 million. But his net in terms of
The add-ons,
they buying.
yep.
So they did of a truth. Of a truth, they didn't pay.
Nobody takes
Exactly.
100 million euros.
Exactly.
No, I'm
Of a
not talking
truth,
about-
they
I
didn't
know there's
pay-
amortization
of a
for
truth,
that.
They didn't pay 30 million
Outright,
splash.
Of
yeah.
course.
But in terms of his
They stagger
amortization
it.
price,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
it is up to that.
And if the person does not stay
Oh,
until then,
that's not the issue. But my point is, they are all checkbook managers. But for me, I would rank number 1, Sir Alex Ferguson. Number 2, Pep Guardiola. Number 3, I'll bring in your man Vicente Del Bosque. Number 4, Jose Mourinho. Number 5, Carlo Ancelotti.
so you also take Zidane out. Okay.
Charlie, Zidane for me, Zidane no be coach. Let's not even mention Zinedine Zidane.
Zabi is a coach.
There's a big game. Kofi, there's a big game coming up. Chelsea, Liverpool taking on
Zabi is a coach.
City. Liverpool takes on City. For me, it's a must-win game for City. Where do you think that game will end?
Woto. Maybe people are watching us on the from the west. They
Uh-huh.
don't understand what woto. Woto means they are going to beat them into submission.
You think so?
Oh, I think City will
Games
beat Liverpool.
between
Yeah, they have been
Liverpool,
close. They have been
games
close.
between
I
Liverpool
mean,
and City have been very, very
yes,
close.
they have been very close. Even last summer, last season, sorry, Liverpool went to the Etihad and played out a 2-2 draw. You understand? So yes, it's been very close, but we all need to put the conversation in context. I think that for so long, this has been a Liverpool team that has challenged City and pushed City to
Yeah.
the limit.
Yeah.
But this Liverpool team is not that Liverpool team.
Why do you say so?
Because this Liverpool team is simply dysfunctional. The major elements that made them a force to reckon with, there are not those elements in place. I spoke about the 4-year cycle. You understand? You look at managers, I think that Liverpool have over-relied on the core of the players. In that 4-year, they've not refreshed that squad. And I think that it's coming back to bite them. You look at that back four, you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, you look at somebody like my very good friend Putu Van Dijk. You understand? You look at the fact that even this week he's been chastised by some of the Dutch legends. You understand? Rijkaard and his good friend Gillett have chastised him
They've actually become a team
heavily.
I think
So
that is too much of
I
a
don't think that Liverpool are the same team they are 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I think that City, with everything to play for, they are still in the hands for a treble. With everything to play for, I think that City should be able to put away Liverpool. Maybe it might not be a grand beating, but I expect City to get all 3 points this afternoon.
I think honestly, for some reason, I do not have, I cannot be concrete on this game because of one thing, trend analysis. The two sides having played together for the last 4 or 5 seasons, it's not necessarily been about form. It's become one of the biggest games in England currently, and just this season, at the time City was going to Liverpool, Liverpool had one of the worst form going into that game. But for some reason, they pipped City by a goal to nil. So for me, it's not so much of the teams being informed. Of a truth, Liverpool have issues. One of the major places that Liverpool have issues is their defensive setup. They have a problem in their defense, and for me, it's going to be a big trouble for them, especially when you have players of Manchester City who know how to play in behind, run behind defenders. One of the major culprits this season has been Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold. They struggle when players run in behind them. When you have a player running off your shoulder, it's a bit different. But if you always have a player trying to get behind you like Julian Alvarez, who I suspect this particular game he will play because of the possible absence of Haaland, I expect that they will struggle with his pace a lot. You made mention of Virgil van Dijk. Listen, we talk about defenders. They are very good defenders. For me, he doesn't belong in the category of world-class defenders. He's had only one good season at Liverpool, the 2019 season, what you call the COVID season, when they won the league. Aside that, he's been bar average. You don't belong in the conversation of you do not be yes when you don't belong in the conversation of Ramos, you don't belong in the conversation of Thiago Silva, you don't belong in the conversation of even John Terry, guys who have been consistent. I'm just saying, guys who have been consistent at the highest level because of his inconsistency. So Liverpool have a major problem with their defense. In midfield, they also have a huge problem. One, because of the absence of Thiago Alcantara. His presence brought a certain dynamism to their play. Right now, their midfield is very rigid. Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, and possibly Harvey Elliott. He is about the only creative guy in there who is not so creative. Maybe we see him as creative because of his ability to play with his left foot, but he's not that creative. He is more direct than being creative. But if you are playing with this City team that sets up, in blocks of two, especially with the midfield, would have Rodri and may even decide to have Gundogan and Bernardo Silva play as another shield of midfield. You need a guy who is able to play that pass through the middle, and they do not have that guy. Their only threat is their attack, because I heard that Darwin Núñez is back. There will be Mo Salah. Why are you laughing at the mention of Núñez? Núñez is back. There will be Mo Salah, and there will be Cody Gakpo in there. So it's not so much of a given, but I suspect that we are going to have a very good game. But I wish City win, because if they lose this game, I expect Arsenal to beat Leeds,
City
and
will win this match.
it's a given for Arsenal.
Like this one, it's not a matter of.
Kofi, take some few comments before we quickly wrap up. Comments from the comment section.
Well, quickly, let me pick some comments from the comment section before we wrap up. And thank you all for joining us via the live feed. Lots of comments. But let me.
Because there are plenty, you are struggling there.
Ebenezer Tete says, Sports 101 to the world. Pius Sayford also goes on to say he doesn't think that some of the things that we talked about. Abigail also, I've seen your comment, and then Abigail says Ciro is and will always be a world-class player. There's no denying
Ciro,
she goes on to say that Ferguson is the best, and then Percy Okran also says that great job, guys. We cannot read all of it.
Yeah, we cannot read all the comment, guys. Sorry, we cannot read all your comment. But if you joined us today for our show, we came your way live at the Noble House Restaurant. Amazing place. Just pass by if you are in Takrady, whenever you are in Takrady for the weekend or anytime. Just pass by. It was lovely time having breakfast with you. We come your way every Saturday morning, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. And we are live too on Tadi FM as well.
On Tadi 99.1 FM, and then tomorrow we come again live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
We will be live on Tadi FM
as well. So guys, always make sure you subscribe to the channel, Sports 101. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. No, it was spread.